What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. I thought I was done making videos for the day. Turns out I'm not, because apparently we need to clear the air on Pierre. I know it rhymes. That's the idea. People weren't very happy with the video that came out earlier today. I'm not really going to apologize for that video, and I'm not going to really talk about it. I'm simply going to state that what people have to realize is the one thing I've mentioned in the past, and that's that I'm in discussions with Pierre's people. In fact, I'm supposed to meet up with Pierre at some point during his by-election run in Alberta. We're supposed to potentially have an interview and maybe do a little bit of work together, and I look forward to that. I've always said I support Pierre. I think what he's doing is good. I think he's the right man for the job in Canada. He still has my vote for Prime Minister. In fact, during our phone call a few weeks ago, I told him he's my Prime Minister. I don't look at Mark Carney as the Prime Minister of Canada whatsoever. All that aside, what people have to realize when I make videos like that is that 550,000 Albertans, according to YouTube's analytics, watch this channel every single month. That's a quarter of Alberta's voting population. So when Pierre Poilievre needs to get a pulse on how Albertans are feeling, especially considering that he's running a by-election in one of the largest ridings in Alberta, the comment section from those videos show more data for them than any Angus Reid poll or any other bias poll that's going to run liberal numbers or only a supposed demographic of people. Pierre's people are aware that that video is out. Pierre's people are more than aware of where my issues lie, where I say that they have a PR problem, that things have to be turned around. And what people have to understand is that the reason videos like that come out are so that his people can analyze what's going on, what the pulse is around the communities within Alberta that are responsible for whether or not Pierre gets a chair. So to people thinking that I'm rocking the boat or that I'm trying to get Pierre somehow removed from winning his election or not, remaining leader of the Conservative Party, I'm actually trying to help him here. Because, again, I will state, I think he's the best guy for the job. I do believe he has good intentions for Canada, but I'm just not going to cheerlead and chase him around the province. I want him to succeed. I'll cover what he's doing, and I wish him all the best. He still has my vote. There's no derailment here. There's no intentions of flip-flopping or trying to ruin things. Again, I think that most could agree that with a large number of Battle River Crowfoot residents viewing this channel, a quarter of Alberta's voting population watching it every month, the opinions that come through the comment section are very valuable to Pierre's people while there's still time to turn things around. The reason I want to say that is because many people are probably going to think this video is a flip-flop because, well, Pierre did some good things today, and there's things that I want to cover, things that are beneficial. Again, leave a comment down below and a thumbs up. His folks are in talks with me, and they are watching the channel. So this is a good place to get your voice heard if you want to get the word out and how you feel about him running in future elections or in this by-election. Pierre stood up and talked about Mark Carney's conflicts of interest today, and it's good because a lot of people were wondering why so silent. We found out this on Friday. So Pierre's stepping forward now to discuss it, and again, make some really good remarks. I want to cover those, and then we'll talk about it after.
Who works hard, can get a good, affordable life in a nice house on a safe street, that your success is determined by your hard work, not by government favoritism. That this is a meritocracy, not an aristocracy, where the government works for the working class, for the seniors, and for everyday people who build this country every single day. And that can only happen if the Prime Minister is focused on the public interest rather than on private interests. On Friday, we finally got a look at the Prime Minister's many financial interests that he kept carefully hidden throughout the election, and about which he told numerous falsehoods during that same campaign. And so these are what the revelations tell us. One, that Mr. Carney was not upfront or honest with Canadians during the election. He made numerous false statements he would have known were false when he made them. Two, there is a cornucopia of conflicts of interest in these investments, like we have never seen before from a Canadian Prime Minister. Let me go through and document all of these claims one by one. First of all, during the election campaign, Mr. Carney said, and I quote, "I own nothing but cash and personal real estate, and that's not going to change in public life." Well, it turns out, while he said that, he knowingly owned 574 stocks and deferred profits and stock options in Brookfield and other companies. So it was patently and now provably false for him to say he owned nothing but cash and real estate. Two, my assets are now in a blind trust, so I don't know what exactly is in there. That too is false. He must have known what was in that blind trust because he was the one that filled out the paperwork for the Ethics Commissioner to report those holdings. So he knew exactly what was in his blind trust, and he just did not want Canadians to know before they went to the polls. Finally, he said, and I quote, "I do not have a connection with Brookfield Asset Management." Well, it turns out that he has continuing stock options and deferred share units in Brookfield Asset Management, and these options cannot be sold, or at least not easily, and we have no reason to believe they have been. So when he said that he had no connection to Brookfield, he was stating a patent falsehood. Now, why should we care? Why should Canadians care about this? Well, Mr. Carney has shown in the past his willingness to use his political connections in order to profit himself. For example, he said, let me see here, he gave public endorsement of Westinghouse in the Leaders debate. Westinghouse is a nuclear energy company which Brookfield is invested in. He has announced he's going to spend billions of dollars on modular homes. Brookfield is invested in modular homes. He says he wants to subsidize heat pumps. Brookfield is invested in heat pumps. He says that jet fuel, in the past he has said that he helped influence regulatory changes forcing aviation companies to buy certain kinds of jet fuel that one of his companies was invested in, so that air passengers have to pay more for their airline ticket to subsidize this specialty jet fuel that profits a company in which Mr. Carney had a financial interest.
Now, I want to cut in at that point because what Pierre brings up here is very important. This is the same thing that I'd shown in that video clip where Mark Carney had said that while he was consulting pro bono and advising Justin Trudeau's government, as well as other governments around the world, that he was using policy to push profits for shareholders. And we showed that, I believe it was 2 videos ago, for anybody who wants to backtrack and take a look at that clip. But this is exactly what happens with the jet fuel situation. This is where you know that when Mark Carney talks about the modular homes, when he talks about everything Pierre's brought up, that whether or not he's going to say that he has a blind trust, he doesn't know where things are going, we all know that that's not the reality of situation. And again, this video with Pierre, this conference goes on for over 20 minutes. I'm going to put a link, while people think I'm trying to destroy Pierre, into the description so that anybody who wants to watch his full speech, his full teardown of Mark Carney, can head over and check that out. Again, I might cover other clips from this interview and other videos. I just wanted to show that Pierre's calling it out. And what's sad about it is that nothing is going to change, ladies and gentlemen. This is why someone like myself favors Alberta independence. Because no matter how much this is called out, when you compare it to Justin Trudeau's many scandals, when you talk about Mark Carney, even Randy Boissonneau and his many scandals of, well, I've removed myself, this company's still active and it's still being given favoritism when it comes to its contracts. No province in this country is going to get a fresh start or a good start at life unless they break away from the corruption of government. It has nothing to do with a flag. It has nothing to do with the views of a country. It has to deal with a corrupt and inept government that ceases to work for the people. The problem with Pierre, and it's the one issue that I brought up in the last video that angered some people, is even if Pierre were to be prime minister. The biggest problem right now when it comes to Saskatchewan or Alberta is what deal could the federal government give Albertans or Saskatchewans that's better than breaking free and having independence in terms of a dollar figure. I really don't see anything more that's beneficial. Many people bring up, well, Pierre wants to put in pipelines. He wants to drop the no-cap emissions. He wants to do all these other things. Those things are great and fine. But the biggest problem at the end of the day is Alberta and the West don't have a seat at the table when it comes to our votes. We don't have any senators in the House of Commons. We don't have any representation. We're merely in the country to put bums in chairs when it comes to delegates from around the country, while a small portion of a large per capita of the country decides who's in charge. That's no way for a country to be run. You either need electoral reform for Albertans to feel satisfied, or for anybody in the West to feel satisfied that their voices are being heard, or they talk about newer options. Keep in mind, folks, nothing lasts forever. Policies change. There's times where the American Constitution has been talked about to be amended because, well, it was written over 300 years ago. There's times where people can say what was once written hasn't been the same for a long time because things have changed. Over 100 years ago, Canada was founded, and now people are starting to say that while Alberta's been a part of that country, things have changed. Our views have changed. Our preferences have changed. Saskatchewans are starting to change as well. In fact, they're more supportive of independence than Alberta. You've got Interior BC saying, take us with you. You've got Western Manitoba saying, hey, we might want to jump on board with this too. It's not because of Mark Carney. It's not because of Justin Trudeau. It's not because of Pierre Poilievre. It's simply because numbers don't lie. Numbers don't have blind trusts. The benefits outweigh the alternatives. That being said, while people ask, well, then why don't you just go full on in independence? You still talk about Pierre, you still talk about Danielle Smith. I have to be a realist. I have to look at it and say, well, currently, we're just trying to get independence to a vote. Until then, Danielle Smith is my premier. Pierre Poilievre is the man that I want to be the Prime Minister of Canada. I still have to work as though our country as a whole, until we're told it isn't. The same as Danielle Smith has said that she's going to obtain her mandate as premier until her people give her a new mandate via a referendum vote. I have to do the same as a Canadian. I have to stand back and say, I know where I stand, where I support, but this is reality. And I think Pierre hopefully will go after Carney the way he needs to be addressed. I think that Carney needs to step down immediately. He should. He won't. It's not going to change. It's not going to happen. And that's kind of my question, that while Pierre is calling out the negativity about Mark Carney, while he's calling out why Canada deserves better, the real question, ladies and gentlemen, is, do you think anything better is going to come from it? Do you think that we're going to see anything happen as a result of Mark Carney's conflicts of interest? Or do you think this is just going to be another scandal in Canada's history? Let me know your thoughts down below. If it's your first time here, boy, I sure hope you hit that subscribe button, because a lot of people were mad this morning. Turn on your bell for notifications. Join me live on the channel each and every week for Friday Night Fringe, our live streaming show. Make sure to leave a comment down below. Again, these comments help Pierre. His folks are watching this channel. I'm submitting the information from this channel to them in hopes that it helps change their direction, or at least puts them on a path they're comfortable with in dealing in Alberta. Even if it's just to give me an FU, let me know down below in the comments. If it's your first time here, again, join me on the channel each and every Friday night for Friday Night Fringe, our weekly live streaming show, where I sit down with the beautiful Mrs. Fringe as we talk about everything that happened this week in politics, everything we know coming up in the week ahead, as well as your Q&A with inside the greatest YouTube community on the platform. I always look forward to chatting with you guys outside of making these videos. I most importantly look forward to chatting with you this Friday night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central here on the channel. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next one.